What's up, everybody? My name is Coach John. I lost 200 pounds and you can too. Today we're going to talk about how to adjust your diet in a way that doesn't involve reducing calories, keeping the weight loss going the way you want it to, which is hopefully slow and steady, for reasons I've talked about in other videos. And in those videos, we established our maintenance, we established the right deficit, we figured out which foods to cut out, we figured out how to use the minimum effective dose to coax progress but keep all our cards in our hand to use later. We don't go throwing every tool in the toolkit at every problem. Keep those things in reserve for a rainy day. And we want to use these things in order from the least stressful to your body to the most stressful. The most stressful is going to be caloric restriction. So today I want to talk about some of these tools more in depth, mainly activity, exercise. Now I'll start off by saying you don't have to exercise to lose weight. People do it all the time where they just adjust their calories and they start losing weight slow and steady. Their normal daily activity is sufficient. Does that work forever? Does that get them to all their goals? Not usually. At some point, there comes a time when their progress has stalled, their body has adjusted to the caloric intake, and they're basically at a new maintenance. And other people like me are just always looking to goose progress, to keep it flowing, keep it moving in the right direction. And one of the easiest ways to do this is to start adding in more activity. And one of the best proxies for activity is your overall step count for the day. Now, some people talk about walking as a cure-all solution. It's close too. I mean, walking's pretty magical. It's trickier in practice though. If you look outside right now, the streets are covered in snow and ice. I can't go outside and walk. Luckily, I have a treadmill now. If I had to do something right now to get activity, would walking really be feasible? Probably not, unless I want to go over to Target or something and walk around the aisles. And if you can do that without spending a bunch of money, good for you. But yeah, potentially there's mall walking. I mean, any indoor area where you can walk safely without risk of slipping and injuring yourself. Or if you're comfortable on those little crampon things, those little spiked things you can strap onto your winter shoes or boots. As long as you're safe, go for it. The only other limitation with walking really is the time commitment it takes. I have one client who has done a really good job of incorporating walking into his day, and he's busier than any clients I have. Oh good, car alarm, great. We're making YouTube here, trying to change lives, come on. You can always start with walking, just doing a little bit more than where you're at right now. Again, the minimum effective dose. If you're doing 0 steps a day, try doing 1,500. If you're doing 1,500, try doing 3,000. If you've been walking 5,000 steps a day consistently for quite a while now, and you're looking to up your game, move it up to 6,500 a day, right? Small but significant adjustments are all that's necessary. For some people though, they're already working on their feet, not sedentary. So they're already clocking 6,000 to 8,000 steps a day. So for them, adding in a walk after work or before work or sometime throughout their day after a meal can really make a difference. You know, get them up past 10,000, 12,000. That's great. But eventually people start to run into time constraints because if you're trying to walk 15,000 steps in a day, I mean, if you were just doing that, that could take you 2.5 hours. Most people are able to work a lot of those steps into their workday because people are teleconferencing a lot. They're working from home a lot more. They're doing a lot more work over the phone. This presents opportunities to actually work while you're getting your steps in. So that's an exciting development for a lot of people and some of my clients. So as long as the weather's nice, as long as you can do it safely, walking is fantastic. It's very low impact. It's easy to recover from, and it definitely burns calories. It'll burn even more calories if you're super heavy because you're doing more work. You're carrying around more weight. Some people run into time limitations. You know, you have family and job commitments. Maybe your job doesn't allow you to walk around a lot. You're kind of stuck at a desk or something, and you need to get your walking in and your off time shoulder hours, but you have family or other responsibilities that don't allow you to walk for an hour or 2 hours a day. You can try to increase your activity to spur on weight loss by walking faster. I know. It's super simple, but it works. It works. You know, you up the pace just a little bit. All of a sudden you're like, oh man, I can feel this. This is actually a workout, you know? And because it's still very low impact and relatively low intensity, you can really get your heart rate up and keep it there for quite some time. And that's Fat Burn City. You can also wear a backpack with some weight in it. And this is especially helpful if, hey, you've been working with me, you've been watching the videos, you've been taking my advice, now you're down 30, 40 pounds. Well, your body isn't carrying around as much weight, so you might not be burning as many calories when you go on your walks. You put 30, 40 pounds in a backpack, carry it around, offset that, you're laughing. Obviously, you can try to go on hikes and hike up inclines and whatnot. All that stuff is fantastic. It's not always super practical to work into your daily life unless near a wilderness hiking trail or something. The other way to constantly be able to turn up the heat on your walking is with incline treadmill. This way you can always up the speed or up the incline to increase the number of calories you're burning per minute. Then you're able to still enjoy the benefits of low impact, relatively low stress exercise, but able to get the effect of taking more steps in a shorter amount of time. So walking is a no-brainer. If you can do it, please, by all means, do it. If you're very sedentary and you're spooked by even walking, just start small. It can start with 5 steps, 10 steps, walk to the end of your street and walk back. Before you know it, you'll be a walking fool. Then you have other forms of cardio. You can always start a mild cardio habit. That sounds like a bad habit. Back here I have the Glorious Exercise Bike of Truth and Justice. I've always loved a good exercise bike session. Just like walking, you don't have to go super hard. It can be very low impact, but over time, it can get you in insane shape. And not just for the purposes of burning calories, but longevity and increasing your VO2 max and your cardiovascular capacity, which is one of the best proxies for longevity. So if you have a cardio activity other than walking that can scale in intensity, again, just use the minimum effective dose. Don't go balls to the wall. Don't hurt yourself. Start small. Try to be consistent with that, work it into a daily routine, and only adjust upwards as necessary to propagate weight loss. So in that way, the cardio side of things is very straightforward once you get your head around the basics. When it comes to resistance training, a lot more variables come in. The misinformation is rampant. The cross information is rampant. And by that I mean, you watch a video that's aimed at a different audience than you, and you hear what they're saying, and what they're saying isn't wrong for that audience, but it might be misapplied to you in your situation. The muscle building advice that is aimed at a teenager who's trying to fill out their frame might be inappropriate to someone who's 55 years old and trying to put on some muscle as they're losing fat. So if we're talking about resistance training to help spur weight loss, doing a couple sets of push-ups isn't gonna burn an insane amount of calories. So when you're just starting out, you might not have the physical capacity to do an intense enough workout to where you're really putting a dent in your daily calories. But that doesn't mean that it's not worth doing. The only way to work up to the ability to burn calories through your weight training as well as cardio is to get started. But it's still activity and it still contributes to your daily totals. And it has a bunch of other positive effects for your long-term weight loss goals. Believe me, and we'll get into that more another time. But as far as how we encourage continual weight loss progress, I'm a big fan of weight training. Sure, for you, in 20 minutes of doing an at-home body weight workout, you might not burn as many calories as you would have with 20 minutes of getting on the bike. But if you walk around between your sets, you're getting steps, right? There's all kinds of ways to increase the calorie burn during a workout. And the amount of volume you do, the amount of sets and reps and the weight used is gonna be reflected in the calories you burn in that time. I know a lot of big YouTubers in the fitness space will tell you that lifting weights doesn't burn a lot of calories, but I'm still a big fan of it. I think it's a very effective tool to add to your fat loss regimen. Not only that, it has awesome stress relief, emotional, hormonal benefits. It can take a cruddy day and just turn it upside down. It can help you curb hunger sometimes. I find that for me and lots of other people, those style of workouts also have a similar appetite blunting effect that cardio can have. There is evidence that when people do cardio, they tend to eat more afterward, but that's unrestricted eating. If you're on your diet program and you're looking for a way to blunt your appetite to stick with your X amount of calories a day, I find that most of the time cardio and cardio style, higher tempo resistance training helps me blunt my appetite, helps me stay on my diet. I find that there's like a cohesiveness, there's sort of a synergy. And if you stick with that long enough and keep your nutrition dialed in, keep your protein intake higher, that can really develop your lean mass, which, just like increasing your cardiovascular fitness, will only help you increase your future output and do more and burn more calories. That's one of the best things about exercise is that by doing it, you get better at burning calories. If you're starting from scratch, don't be afraid to start small. If you're feeling stuck, don't be afraid to just take the next step. And definitely don't get dogmatic about these things. If you've been riding the bike and it's getting a little stale, do something else. Anything that gets your heart rate up, gets you sweating, and that you enjoy doing can be part of a consistent, healthful practice that leads you continually closer to your weight loss goals. If you have questions about resistance training or at-home workouts or going to the gym and doing this, I'm happy to answer them in future videos. Ask your questions in the comments below. That's all for now. If you're looking for individual coaching on how to do these things, you can email me at johnoakescoaching@gmail.com, or you can go to the Facebook group Lose Weight with John for no cost support. You can post questions in the group. You can see progress other people are making, learn what worked for them. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Leave a comment down below for the algorithm. It really helps other people find this information. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next video.